Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Inside the Orange podcast. The podcast all about understanding the people around us. Now, first of all, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has watched or listened to last week's episode with Anna Kennedy. It has just been amazing how much response I've had from it, and thank you all. And especially thank you to Anna for appearing on the show and having a conversation with me. So my guest today is undertaking what can only be described as a remarkable feat. It's a lady called Nikki Love. And Nikki, starting today when this podcast is aired, is running 100 marathons in 100 days. And I'm so delighted that she came to us to talk about it and share her adventure. So, let's get into the episode. So my guest today is an incredible person. It is the amazing Nikki Love, and she plans to run 100 marathons in 100 days. It's an absolutely unbelievable feat, and she's here to tell us about it today. So Nikki, welcome to the Inside the Orange podcast. How's your day been so far?
My day's been great, thanks, Rich. I have been studying, actually. So I've had the day. It's been beautiful. I haven't trained, which might be a bit of a surprise. I call myself the laziest ultra runner you're ever going to meet. But today was blocked out to do some study. So.
Brilliant. So just to give us a bit of a background, so how we've got to this point here. So just tell us about yourself. Where do we start?
Okay, simple thing is that I'm 53, going to be 54. I have titles, so I call myself an adventure runner because I like to run on adventures. I'm an author, a speaker, a businesswoman. I'm now a student as well. I'm a mum. So they're the titles that I have, and throughout the years, I mean, I started in the fitness industry when I was 19, so that's a really long time, being the person up the front, sort of inspiring, encouraging, and helping people from that platform, as either the aerobics instructor, the gym instructor, the personal trainer, the running coach, all those things. And then the older I got, the more I wanted to be. It wasn't just the walk, it was or do the talk, it was walk the walk as well. All these things that I had in my head, the dreams, the goals, the ambitions that I would encourage other people to do, I was doing myself, but I wasn't sort of like doing it up to the level that I had in my brain. I was like, I want to try this, I want to try that. And at some point you have to say, well, when are you going to do it? And turning 50 was the sort of the catalyst of like, come on now, what are you waiting for? Come on, let's go, let's do this. So so that's when I kind of flipped over and thought, right, well, actually, you know, all those dreams, all those goals, why not actually put some action behind it and give them a go? That's how I got here.
Hence where we are now. So, as I said in the intro about you, so you're planning 100 marathons in 100 consecutive days.
Yeah.
So, question one, how is that possible?
Well, you just have to keep moving and keep running. It hasn't sort of like just come out of nowhere. So, I have run. I'm going to say probably most of my life. I started running when I was a teenager at high school. So running has always been in my life, and fitness and all that sort of stuff. So, I'm not starting from scratch. I loved running. So that helps so much that I actually love being outside and running and seeing where I can go. So that's why I call myself an adventure runner, because I don't do races, or I do very few races. It's actually the places that I get to see and go, and I get lost, and it's just fun. So I started the running, normal distances, like, the 5K, 10K, half marathon, stuck at half marathon for years. And I'm saying years. I didn't even consider doing a full marathon until I was in my 30s. and I did this half marathon, and I watched all these people keep going past me, and I thought, that's insane. How can you do another of what I've just done? Couldn't fathom it. But it put that thought in my head that maybe it was possible because I was watching other people doing it. So it wasn't until 2001, I'd just given birth to, I say just given birth, he was 6 months old. And I decided that I was going to do this marathon. Bit foolish because I didn't do any training. Sort of like, right, I'm going to do a marathon. It's been in my head for a very long time. I'm going to do it. So I booked myself in, and I got to the 19-mile mark, and I stopped, didn't finish, and that was it. It was just like all these years of thinking, yes, maybe I could do it, and failed. And that you talked about failing and how you managed to change that as a learning experience. I went home, I looked at my son, and I said, that's not the story I want to tell him. That's not the story I want to tell me. So what am I going to do about it? And I booked myself into the London Marathon 6 months later, because there was once upon a time that you could actually do that. You could just go online and go, yeah, I want to do the London Marathon. Right, I'm going to do it. And I booked it in. 6 months later, I trained properly, and I finished. And that's the flip. That's the ability that the story's never finished until you actually say it's finished. It's just more chapters. You keep adding chapters to it.
No, and again, I appreciate that. I did an Instagram video yesterday where I did talk about setbacks and step backs and things like that, and it's very important. And again, not knowing what part of the mountain you're actually on in your journey, we all consider that wherever we sit now is the top, but it rarely is. But to go away and to do that, it was incredible. So how does one marathon turn into 100 marathon from that then? What bridge that gap for me, please?
Right, okay, so from one marathon, so that was in 2002. I got another place in London for 2004. So I did the London, that second one, and then I put another application in several times. By that stage it was hard to get in, and I got another place in London in 2010. In between times, it didn't occur to me that I could run a marathon somewhere else. I just didn't. It was just like, you either run London or you don't run London. And so I got this third spot in the London Marathon in 2010, and by that stage I was sort of thinking, what else can I do? Can I make it harder? Can I make it more bigger? And I'd been reading lots of books, that whole thing of expand your brain, reading other people's adventures. And there was two books in particular. There was a book by Rosie Swale Pope, who ran around the world, and another book by Dean Karnazes, who ran 50 marathons in 50 days in 50 states of America. And I was starting to think, oh yeah, maybe I can do something like that. What I got told was, no, Nikki, you can't do anything like that. Who are you? What do you think you can do? Because I was thinking, well, I'm not going to do 50, maybe I'll do 30 marathons in a row. And the people around me gave me the great big long list of why I couldn't do that. So I was a woman. I had a child. I had a business. I had no experience, and all valid points, I guess. But it was just like, okay, well, all right, what will I do then? I'll do 7. And everybody said, yes, 7's a good target. So we all agreed 7 marathons in 7 days. So I did that in 2010. Come the end of that, I couldn't move on day 8. And I was just like, wow, I'm so glad I didn't do 30. But what the thing with that is, and I talk about people around me saying, you know, you couldn't do that. They did it from, I understand where they were coming from. They did it from a place of love. They didn't want me to fail. They didn't want me to hurt. They couldn't see it. And when I finished it, they were just like, yeah, you did well, Nikki, you did great, be proud, but you were not very good at this, because look at you, look at the state of how you finished. You know, you're battered, you're bruised, you're injured. Put it aside. That's you're done. Whereas my way of thinking was, well, if I did that, what did I learn from it? Can I do better? What should I do next? And it took me a long time. It took me 6 years to sort of build up the courage again to think, well, actually, you know what? I had this original idea of maybe doing 50. Get back onto that idea. And at that point, so sorry, I might be taking a long time to explain how I got here, but we will get there. So it was turning 50, and I was thinking, all right, well, that 50 marathons, that was in my head. Maybe I should look at that again, because you know what? I did learn so much from that. And I think I can do better next time, because that's the whole point of learning something, is to then implement change and do better next time round. And so at that point, that was 2017, I looked at world records, and I found that the world record for most consecutive marathon distances by a woman was 60. A British woman had it. And at that point, it was just like, well, 50 and 60, I may as well do 60. You know, they sound the same, practically the same. I will go for 60. And if I'm going to go for 60, then I may as well try and beat it. So I came up with this idea that I would run 63 marathons in 63 days, which I did in 2017. Didn't get the official record for technical reasons, and it's been sitting in my head now for a little while that perhaps I should go back and look at that. When I did it, I had this idea that it was always going to be a training run for the next thing. So that's how I kind of make it a little bit smaller than this big thing. So it's taken a few years, but and a few other adventures in between time. But yeah, the 100 is now on the cards, and I'm thinking of the 100 as being a training run for the next thing after that, just to give it a little bit of perspective. And yeah, that's the attitude, is that it's something that I want to do. I find love, passion, enjoyment from it, and it's time to give these things a go, because you know, what's the worst thing that can happen? And the worst thing that can happen, so I always start from some sort of like this worst thing, is that I have a rule on my adventures: don't die on an adventure. So that's my number one rule, and everything from there down is like, yay, I've done good. So yeah, that would be the worst thing that would happen, but you know, that's it. It's more give it a go.
No, it's very inspiring to listen to you. Something that did jump out at me from what you were saying, and again, I really appreciate the fact you said these people said it with love. But how do you keep that positivity when everywhere around you the answer is no, or don't, or stop? How do you keep the positivity?
Well, so at the time, it was very much I had to stay within my own little sort of space and head. I did have a psychologist friend who helped me out a lot by giving me things to do and ways to talk myself into it. So number one was always find out what the reason why, and have all those reasons why I was going to do this, and not let it stop me, not let anybody stop me. Then it was a more practical thing, which was writing that I had completed it, in the past tense. So I list all the things that I've done. So this is a really good one if you are trying to do something really challenging, really extreme. List all the things that you have done, and then the goals that you've got, the extreme things that you've got, put them in as if you have already done them. So for me, my sentence was, I've run the London Marathon. I've run 7 marathons in 7 days. I'd run another thing called, I'd run the Jungle Ultra. I ran 63 marathons in 63 days. And I ran across Australia. So I put the things that I wanted to do in the past. You read that all the time, and your brain and your subconscious believes it, and you start taking actions towards the things that it's read as that's what it's believing. So it's a little bit of a mind working with the mind. So yeah, she gave me lots of tips. I am now, I'm extremely lucky, is that I now have people around me who tell me that I believe everything I say. It's like, okay, I'm going to go for 100. Okay, yeah, all right. But yeah, that first bit was hard, and it is a work you have to do. You have to train your body to be able to do it. You have to train your mind to believe. They both have to be done. It's another like muscle.
No, brilliant. So when does this start? So when does the journey begin? Day one.
All right, the 1st of May. That's the start date, which means that my end date is the 8th of August. And the goal is to run 100 marathons. My other criteria is that I get it done within the day. So worst case scenario is that I've got 12 hours in the day of sunlight that I can get it done. The idea is that I run. I know that there'll be walking involved, and there'll be eating involved, because you can't just sort of like survive on just gels for 100 days. You have to eat, and you have to stretch and all that sort of stuff. So that was another a sort of a bit of a light bulb moment. When I did the first marathon, I got to 19 miles, and it hadn't occurred to me that maybe I could walk. You're a marathon or you're a runner, you run every single step. It's just like, oh no, you know what, you're allowed to walk. nobody comes along and goes, no, you're not allowed to do that. So yeah, that's all the process.
No, and do you know, again, it raises a really interesting point. Again, I said to you, I always send my guests questions, and I say, I promise I'll try not to blindside you, but there's so much coming from what you're saying that is just making me think, oh, I want to ask this. So, do you think that's the difference? You said that you're not competitive, you're not a race runner. Do you think that bodes well for you because you haven't got that competition of no, I can't stop running, and having that kind of mentality of no, I can walk because I'm still completing what I'm setting out to. Do you know what I mean with that? Is that something that's in that psyche?
I'm very competitive.
Okay.
But it's learning what I'm competitive at or for, or the purpose behind it. So I want to see what I'm capable of. So that, that's my competition. I want to beat this record because, it's sitting there. I want to do that. Do I want to enter races and try and either beat the person in front of me or not let the person behind me pass me when I do race? Yes, that's exactly how I feel. But it's not the big driver. It's not that. That's not the reason why I do it. So I've lost track of my question. What did you ask?
No, that's fine. And again, apologies because I did say you're not competitive, but yeah, what I meant was not being an out and out race runner. So yeah, is it important that you haven't got that mentality the whole time that you can say I can walk, whereas maybe someone who is ultra competitive, and I mean like that, saying no, I can't afford to stop running because this is a marathon, like you said. Is it important that you have the right mentality, the right psyche for that?
Yeah, I think so. But again, it's your purpose of what you're doing. So on a day of a race, if it was a 5K, I'd be out there giving it my best. And would I walk? I'd really try hard not to. But yeah, there's a time and a place.
No, that's brilliant. So we kind of talked about the run, but how do you spend the time when you're not training? And you said you haven't trained today, but are there is there times or long term where you don't train, or is it training is a 5 out of 7 thing?
Oh, I'm going to say that I train a lot. For me, it doesn't seem like I do. This has always been my life. From age 19, I've been in the fitness industry. So I taught classes. I worked out. I did training. I run most days. I didn't run today, but I did a little weight workout. So I didn't call that training, but I did train. So yes, probably I do train nearly every day. I take breaks in terms of I might take a few days off, or I might and that also, it depends on work as well. So I work for myself, from home, and sometimes work takes higher priority than the running. The running is still the other thing I do. It's not my all-encompassing project.
No.
There is life outside of shorts.
and another thing, from doing 100 marathons in 100 days, what does the recovery for that look like? So when would the next time, after we've seen you do day 100, which we're going to see you do because you're going to achieve it, we know that. So when, after day 100, when is the next time you would train, or is that something you haven't even considered at the moment?
Oh, probably the next day. So this it's actually a practical thing. Is that so after my day 63, I thought, no, I'm going to have a day off, which is great. My legs swelled up because they were used to the running and all that sort of stuff. So I had to actually go out, and I just walked the next day. But just my legs we're still in running mode, and there was a lot of swelling, so I had to sort of keep moving. So I had a day off, and the next day I went running again, taking the distance right down. But you go back to and honestly, by the end of the 63, I was just like, oh my God, I don't want to run a marathon anymore. Didn't change that, and I wasn't in love with marathon running. I was still in love with running, and the day off was fine, and the next day it was just like, I'll go for a little run outside. Again, it comes back to that thing of the whole reason I run is because I love it. So I will take time off, but when you're doing something that you love, you don't need to have a break.
No, you don't want to take the break, like you say. You don't want to do that from it. Yeah, it's not a when you have a job or something like that, you take the break from it because it's nice to have that relief. But if it's something that you would do every day, it is absolutely. So, is this the pinnacle? Is 100 days the top? You're smiling a little bit there because I'm very conscious of where this answer is going to be. But is 100 the pinnacle, or?
No. The hundred is a little fill-in training run for, and it is actually a fill-in because after I ran my 63 marathons, I really, really, really wanted to run across Australia. This is a thing that I've got in my head. And when you put something in there and it just sort of like, I'm going to keep going on at you. So it didn't happen in 2018 because I just wasn't in a place to be able to go to Australia. So instead of running across Australia, I ran around Ireland because Ireland's fairly close, and that just seemed like a cute little thing to do. So I ran around Ireland. And with the idea that 2019 I would run across Australia. So I had made all my plans, and finances didn't allow me to go, so I postponed that. So instead of running across Australia, I came up with two other ideas. I ran across the Netherlands and I ran the length of Wales, and that sort of entertained me for 2019, with 2020 being the year that I was going to run across Australia. And yeah, I had my flights booked and COVID happened and flights got cancelled. So that is still there and it's niggling, and it's something I really want to do. So it's not going to happen this year because Australia's borders are still closed. So this one is an interim, but it's a something that I am passionate about. I want to achieve this. I do want to get that 100. It just wasn't the first thing that I was going to do. Australia was going to be the thing that I was going to do. Then I have got something after that. And then I've got something after that. You know what? If I can run and I can do these things, these ideas that I've got in my head, and they are serving me and something else, doing good in my world, then I hopefully will be able to keep doing it until I can't.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
The challenge might get a little bit different. It might look a little bit different, but yeah, I still want to be able to do these things.
So the length of Australia, because you are going to do that as well. Again, we're going to talk as everything as we are. You are going to do it. So I'll mount up now. I'm not doing it with you. Okay.
You're with me. Yes.
I've got myself in enough trouble on Instagram saying that I'm going to do half marathons, and that's got me in trouble. But but how far is that trek? How far is the Australia one? Do you know it in miles, kilometres, or is it just?
Yeah. It's just short of 2,500 miles. Which is actually when you tally up the it will depend on the route that I take. So we've planned out a route. We've got two options to take when we get to the border of South Australia and either New South Wales or Victoria. It will depend on the time of year and what the weather conditions are like as to whether I go down or go up and across to Sydney. But I'll be going from Perth to Sydney. So it's just short of 2,500 miles. So in the scheme of things, with doing the 100 at 26.2 miles, I'll actually do more distance over 100 days. What I want to do Australia in is faster. So yeah, it'll be the goal is to run that in 63 days. So that was the little target there. So that was basically 40 miles a day for 63 days.
I don't think you're setting yourself big enough targets, to be honest. I think I think you're bailing out on yourself. 40 miles.
So we talked about this just before we went on. Is that mindset, the whole play with what it is that you're trying to do, how you tackle it, how you come at it, and I honestly do go at it as I'm going out for a little run every day. And my run might start at 7 o'clock in the morning and it might finish at 7 o'clock at night. But that's my days. I've gone for a run and I love running. So,
Absolutely. I can absolutely 100%, even from this interview today, know that you love running. Yeah, it does. You might have mentioned it once or twice. I'm not sure. But
yeah.
So you've described yourself as adventure runner, which we've talked about, author, speaker, businesswoman, mum and motivator. So how do you find the time for all that, to do it and to succeed at it? How many hours are in your day? Because I've only got 24 in mine. I don't know.
Well, first of all, you have to set what success means to you, because some people might look at me and go, oh my God, she's an absolute mess. So it's defining what success is. So I work for myself. I work from home. That business is fluctuates. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. The author, well, I'm writing a book. I've written 2 books. I've got another book coming out soon. It's a kids version of my book, and I'm really, really excited about that. these are the things that I love. So you always find time to do things you love. The being a mum, that was a huge thing. My son is now 20, so you know, being a mum is not my highest. I mean, it's my job for life, but he lives away at uni, so you know, he's doing his own thing. So that's not my criteria. You know, he's not my
it's not full time. It's not full time.
Yeah. Exactly. And these are the things that, so you know, I would love to do a lot more. I'd like to write full time. I'd like to do all of these things full time. I can't. I have to juggle it all. So that's what happens, is you get good at very good at juggling, and you do little bits and pieces here, and it takes a lot longer. But if you have this idea that you're in it for the long haul and you've got a lot of time, and I know that that's not always the case, but you just keep going and going and going until you know you run out of time. But yeah, it's never too late to give these things a go. And yeah, I've just started a uni degree, and it's going to take me 6 years to do. So yeah, who knows where that's going to end up. But yeah, it's you find time.
No, absolutely. I mean, I currently study myself. You know, I started with the OU 4 years ago, so I'm 4 years of 6 for that, and absolutely with the OU, yeah. Absolutely brilliant. And again, you know, if it's that, again, I don't know what you're studying, but if it's something you are passionate about and something you want to do, then obviously, again, like you've just said so well there, you find the time. It's something, and again, it's something I can say has opened so much in my mind for doing it. So again, you know, the thing about being mature students and things like that, it's just been amazing. So for the OU, I'll sell it to you here. It's absolutely brilliant, and I've loved every minute of it. So but yeah, as I say, it still takes time. But again, if it's something you want to do, then you'll make that time for it. So that's absolutely brilliant. So about you, how can people find you, and how can people follow your incredible task?
Okay, so my part of the criteria for getting the record this time is that the events every day is open to people joining me. So it's all available on my website, which is nikkilove.co.uk. And if you want to come and join me, then please register. If you want to try and race me for the 100, enter all of them because they are all open events. Come and join me. The way I've set it up is that I'll be running pretty much every day, doing loops, 5K loops at different locations around the country, so that people, if they say they've got an hour, they can come and actually run with me for an hour. If they've got all day, they can come and run with me all day. If they don't think that they can run that far, they come and run with me. But I promise you, if you think that you can't run very far and then you come and run with me, then you'll be surprised how far you can go. I had so many people join me on the 63 marathons who'd never run a marathon before and stuck with me the whole day, and you know, surprise, they were actually able to do it. So it's amazing what you're capable of doing when I think when the pressure's off, when you've got a bit of time, and you just keep going. So that's on my website. On social media, you'll find me at Nikki Love Runs. That's Instagram and Twitter, although I just don't understand Twitter. And the idea is, if you want to come and join me, then have a look on the schedule, the 100 days, and tag yourself in and come along and come with me for just a little bit, because that would be fun.
Absolutely brilliant. As I say, and for the purposes of the podcast, I'll make sure the bits are in the show notes and the description as well, so people can have a look and find you through this. So just to make that even easier. So let's talk about yourself. So we've talked about, you've been on this journey. You know, you've been in fitness since you were 19. Is there anything you would tell yourself now that you might not have thought was possible going into what you're doing? Is there anything you tell your younger self to prepare yourself for whatever that may have been at the time?
you're going to make lots of mistakes, and that's okay. And that those mistakes or your experiences. So I say mistakes, and mistakes is probably the wrong word, because it's actually not the word I use to my son when I tell him, talk to him about it. I just say it's an experience. Something good might come out of it, something not so good might come out of it, but they're an experience. Use that, because at some point later on in your life, you'll be able to work out what you did to overcome that, to get yourself out of that. And you have overcome it because you're here today. So give yourself a bit of a break. Because at some point you'll be able to use that, and it will be a strength, because you will be able to change that story of it being not so good to actually, you know what, I was strong enough to overcome that. So yeah, that's a definitely a learned thing as an adult, older, that all these things that weren't so great when I was younger, just experiences.
No, it's brilliant. And again, you talk about being a mum, and I mean, as I say, I sit here now and just how you come across, your inspiration, just how you face anything else. Your son must be the most inspired person at university. Like, which one's your son? You'll be able to see because he's doing laps at university 400 times, that kind of thing.
No. He's really into partying. He's given it everything he's got at the moment. So I'm so proud of him.
Good lad.
He's taken this drive and this determination to party as hard as he can, which is great. Because he's young, and that's what he needs to do.
Why not? Absolutely. So, the most pressing thing I do want to ask is, if once you've done this 100 marathons in 100 days, can you come back and talk about it?
Oh yeah, I'd love to. I want to. I know we haven't asked you yet, but I want to know where you are, and I want to know if you're going to come out with me for a little bit.
I think the Zoom's failing actually. No, right. Right. Well, do you know what? Let's. I'll have a little look offline, and that's not a no. Sorry, my listeners are gonna be like calling me every name under the sun now for this. Yes, if it's logistically possible, let's do it. Let's sort something out. Yeah. But again, let's just double. You don't live in like the North Pole or South Pole and something like that. That logistically, it's going to be a nightmare for me to get to. Is it? That's.
No,
can we clarify that?
No. All around England I will be, so yes, I hopefully will be swinging by you somewhere that you can sort of like go, yeah, she's only down the road, okay I'm coming out.
To make
even if it's just to yell at me and wave at me.
Yeah, you're doing a great job with a pint in my hand. Yeah, brilliant. No,
I will steal that pint, by the way. There is a pint in your hand. So that's something else that I've been sort of renowned for, which is, it doesn't hurt to have a pint halfway.
Good advice. But no, I'll have a look, and we'll have a chat offline, and again we'll make that available via my Instagram. Or so I'll come and sort something out, and we'll have some kind of duet of it, of and whatever.
It's a commitment.
Yeah, it's live. I say to the listeners, as soon as I say it on here and it goes public, then I've written myself so many lists over the years of what I've got to do because of what I commit to. But no, absolutely. As I say, I'm on a bit of a running journey myself. As I say, I do my Instagram and my bits and pieces about trying to get people that don't think they're the natural runner. I'm a bigger lad myself, and that's been important for me. But again, I've always, since I've been doing it, I've said the running community is just one of the best, because I've just had so much support from people, just little bits and pieces. And again, it's brilliant. So yeah, as I say, you're inspiring to me. So yeah, I will definitely come and do 500 steps. No, I'm joking. No, we'll sort something out. Definitely do that. But Nikki, as I say, that's been absolutely brilliant just to have you on here today. Again, it's just great to see someone with such a massive event coming up with just such a smile, and just, I'm not going to say it's inspiring me to go and run 100 marathons. Let me get me 5Ks and things sorted first. But you never know. You never know, do you? But
that's how it all started for me. 5Ks,
Exactly. But no, thank you. Is there anything else you want to say before we close off, as I say, just out there to inspire anyone?
You know what? You spoke about it yesterday, about imposter syndrome, and also finding that positivity. Just it may feel a little bit difficult, but believe in yourself, especially when people around you don't, and keep working on that. That's part of your training, is this self-belief, and the happiness part is actually in the doing of achieving. So you've got your journey at the moment of becoming, doing your 5K. That's the happiness. The target is there, but there is so much joy to be had along the way. So just do that.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And Nikki, as I say, we'll see you soon, and I will be on some point of the race with you by the sounds of it. So thanks for that.
Thank you. Thank you, Rich.
Have a great day. Take care.
Ta.
Thanks for listening to this episode. If this podcast is something you enjoy, then please subscribe to the podcasts and make sure you like and share so more people can hear our message. Remember, if you have any questions for me or my guests, you can get in touch via our website, insidetheorange.co.uk, on Twitter @OrangeWatts, on Instagram @InsideTheOrange, or on Facebook on the Inside the Orange podcast. And finally, there's the email of insidethisorange@gmail.com. All these links will be available in the description. Thanks for listening, goodbye and take care.